All right, what exciting days we live in. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. So Trump is nominated for Nobel Peace Prize for nuclear war prevention, but then the nomination is withdrawn. Abraham Accords are on the table. But check this out, folks. Look at this. The Abraham Alliance. Look at this. It's a billboard. It's time for a new Middle East. This ought to be in the, you can't make this up, the Israeli Coalition for Regional Security, made up of over many senior officials, has launched a new billboard campaign calling for a regional alliance between Israel and its neighbors. I look at this, it says mega media. I don't know. I mean, really, the whole thing just makes you think, is this really, you can't make this up? What kind of, are these, where's this going? With the Iranian threat now pushed back from Saudi Arabia and the Gulf, this vision is closer than ever. Once the war in Gaza winds down, expect new alliances to start taking shape. Friends, I mean, listen, if you've been talking about Bible prophecy, if you've been following it, for years we've been saying eventually there's going to be some kind of pseudo peace that's coming to the Mideast. We have ceasefires. We have all kinds. Listen, check this out. Turkey's Erdogan calls for permanent Iran-Israel ceasefire and Gaza truce. Syria, Lebanon could join Abraham Accords before Saudi Arabia, and Israeli ambassador says to the U.S. I mean, you look at some of these things and you're going, all this stuff is happening. And then check this out. This was on Truth, Trump's Truth Social or whatever it's called, earlier today. Listen to this. You ready? Posted by Trump. I don't know if he wrote it or Paula White, but whatever. Reality itself is built on love, and that's what we're seeing right now. Again, this is on Trump's post. The events that happen in this world are only a reflection of what we carry within ourselves. It's very simple, very beautiful, and very true. What appears as conflict is really an invitation to awaken to a higher understanding. We send a strong message, but we also open the door for peace and harmony, because that's where this is all going. Friends, men, are they shouting peace and safety, peace and harmony from the rooftops? I am pleased, Trump says, to say that no one was truly harmed, because deep down at the core, we are all one. The noise of aggression is just a shadow trying to remember the light. I want to thank everyone for choosing the path of love and understanding, making it possible for no lives to be lost and no further wounds to the heart of the world. Perhaps this is a sign that we can now proceed to peace, harmony, and unity in this beautiful sacred space we call Earth. I will always encourage every nation, every person, every heart to remember the great truth that love is the foundation of reality and everything returns to it. I'm almost thinking a hippie might have written this. I don't know. Thank you for all allowing love to guide us all. Together we win. Together we rise. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Friends, I'm looking at everything that's going on. Let's put this into a little bit of a biblical perspective. Again, this billboard going to be being posted everywhere. Bring this Abraham Alliance. Let's do a covenant with many. You got that going on. You got this post by Trump this morning. We have what Trump said in the helicopter yesterday against the nation of Israel. I've asked several of my Israeli friends, not all of them, I have a lot of them, but what they think about this, quite frankly, they don't know. You know, where's all of this going? What was really up with the ceasefire? Why did Israel do all the things that they did? What's really going to happen in Gaza now? What about the lost lives? What about the hostages? It's a very strange thing when you start to work it out. Israel was having these victories, and then when it looks like Israel's going to finally get the upper hand on Iran, Gaza, and their enemies, suddenly, oh, stop, Israel, got to stop fighting. I mean, haven't we seen this over and over and over again? And now, as usual, it's all under the umbrella of let's just live in peace. Let's just live in harmony. Finally, we are going to get there. Folks, I promise you, this is going to go to a place, and the anti-Semitism, if you thought it's been bad, it is only increasing. This is going to go to a place, it is the fault of the Jews. There's only 16 million of them, and you 16 million Jews are causing a problem worldwide. That is the argument that is going to happen. I'll tell you something else that's going to happen. If you're familiar with the NAR movement, National Apostolic Reformation, it's the Seven Mountains Mandate, it's the Kingdom Now theology. Basically, it says we are going to Christianize the world. We're going to make the perfect world. And we're going to do it. We're going to fix it, and then we're going to give it to Jesus. This is what's going to happen with the NAR movement, which is usually pro-Israel, and it has to go this way. And I'll tell you why. Because eventually the NAR movement is going to also jump on the bandwagon and say the only reason we really don't have genuine peace is because of you, Israel. The only reason we can't really create this perfect world of perfect harmony is because of you, Israel. And if I'm not mistaken, Paula White, Trump's spiritual leader, is that's her theology. So you have this, it's bad eschatology. Biblical eschatology, a right understanding of the Bible says Jesus is going to fix it. This says, no, we're going to fix it, and I tell you, it has to go the direction that it's going. It's the Jews' fault. We're going to bring peace. Personally, I felt when the bomb was dropped on Fordo the other day, it put Israel in a very odd position for Trump to be able to say to Israel, now you're going to do whatever I tell you to do because I did this for you. Friends, we're watching. People are shouting peace and safety. They seem to be shouting it from the rooftops. In Psalm 120, verse 7, the psalmist wrote, I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. They say they want peace. Does Turkey really want peace? Well, we know from Ezekiel 38 that Turkey, along with Russia and Iran, they come against Israel. Does Syria, I mean, Jelani, he's a terrorist dressed up in a suit. Does he really want peace with Israel? I mean, I go back to this billboard campaign, the Abraham Alliance. It's time for a new Middle East. The world's attention, friends, is focused on Israel, and it's only going to increase. We've been saying this time after time for a long time, and especially been saying it over the last several months. The world's attention is going to focus on Israel, and it's going to focus on even more. It's going to get zeroed in on Jerusalem. How much longer before a covenant comes about that says, okay, Israel, here, we can make all the pain go away. You just sign here. We'll make the anti-Semitism go away. Just go along with this. And we'll even build you a temple right there on the Temple Mount. It's all deception. Israel's going to be tricked into Ezekiel 38, verse 11, a time of laying down their weapons, thinking they have no enemies. Suddenly they're going to be attacked from the north, but God will wipe out that army. But yet another time when this false security comes, a covenant of 7 years that is going to be confirmed, a covenant with the many. So I go back to this billboard, the Abraham Alliance. It's time for a new Middle East, the Israeli Coalition for Regional Security has launched a new billboard campaign calling for a regional alliance between Israel and its neighbors. Again, note this, it's the Israeli Coalition for Regional Security. We want to get along with everybody. We want to get along with our neighbors. Trump nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. Did you see that? For nuclear war prevention. And then that nomination was withdrawn. And then this was also in the Jerusalem Post. Syria, Lebanon could join Abraham Accords, as I mentioned, before Saudi Arabia, says Israeli ambassador to the U.S. I'm very upbeat about the potential for an Abraham Accord with Syria and Lebanon, the ambassador said. And then, what else do we have? Yahoo News. Trump says U.S. and Iranian officials will talk next week as ceasefire holds. Friends, I look at this, and it is truly amazing to be alive right now, to watch the dynamics of everything that is moving and shaking and shaping. I want to encourage you. The Bible told us the direction things were going to go in the last days. I don't believe these are fulfilled prophecies. I believe we are at like hyper speed to the fulfillment of those prophecies. Everything is being set up from the tracking. Listen, while we're talking about all these things, Israel and Jerusalem and Abraham Accords and everybody getting along and ceasefires and all this stuff, Israel is the center of attention. Guess what? AI is moving forward. Digital ID, talk, digital tracking, digital currency. Everything that would implement the mark of the beast is still moving forward. Russia still exists. Russia will be turned around and brought against Israel. Turkey's still out there. China's still doing whatever China is doing. As we look at all of the different dynamics of everything that is taking place, it's all coming together, and I encourage you to not turn to the left or the right. Jesus warned us, do not be deceived. He also said, when you see all of these things begin to take place, look up and lift up your head because your redemption draws near. How much longer before we are called home? I do not know. But friends, now certainly every day has caused us to get to a place to say, let me look at the Word. Let me search the Word and know what the Bible means. According to Daniel chapter 12, during the last days, the people will search to and fro of the word, in the Word. Their knowledge of the Word will increase. They'll have better and better clarity of what is happening. And right now we know this, that we don't know all the details, but we know the direction it's going. And it's absolutely obvious the direction everything is going. In the meantime, we do what Jesus said. We look up, we lift up our head, because all of these things give evidence to our redemption draws near. God bless you guys.
So the first thing I want to just briefly mention, and I'm sure a number of the listeners will probably be aware of this, but there will be many that are not aware of it. There was, in April 2024, a report, which should be kind of shocking to people what this report is, a federal report that simulates a July 4th, 2025 bioterror attack. Now, that's a very specific date. And if any of you know with Event 201 before COVID, how it played out exactly, how they simulated it, not necessarily suggesting that this will play out how they simulated it, but I think it's important that people are aware of it in case they do happen to pull something similar out, even if it's not on July 4th. But in April 2024, the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense released the National Blueprint for Biodefense, immediate action needed to defend against biological threats. It's a little known but deeply alarming federally commissioned report. So it simulates a bioterror attack on 4th of July 2025, which is just a few days away, using a genetically engineered Nipah virus that it's supposed to kill, according to the simulation, 280,000 Americans in a single day, that's July 4th, and devastates livestock. The virus has a supposed mortality rate of 40% in that simulation. And, you know, as I said, just before COVID-19, they had that Event 201 simulation. And, you know, this is a similar type of thing. So I just want to read part of it. It is a 177-page report titled The National Blueprint for Biodefense. It details all the people that are in it, you know, some nefarious people in it. But I just want to skip down to page 9, the scenario. The following hypothetical opening remarks by the chair of a congressional joint inquiry provide the context for this report by portraying a biological attack sufficient to cause the catastrophic consequences warned of by the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense. The scenario describes how a biological agent could target humans and animals, how it could emerge some of the key interagency capabilities required to address the agent and its impacts and the consequences of failure. So I'm reading directly from the report. Joint inquiry into administration and congressional actions before and during the bioterrorist attacks of July 4th, 2025. U.S. House of Representatives Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Chair. I call this first hearing of the joint inquiry to order. 9 weeks ago, some nation or terrorist group, we still do not know who, attacked the nation's capital and other U.S. cities with biological weapons as we celebrated Independence Day. The infectious agent they used killed at least 280,000 Americans and infected at least 400,000 through the country in a single day, in addition to the 200,000 dead and 800,000 sickened animals. These numbers will increase as the disease spreads. Many of our own colleagues and staff here in Congress fell ill and died. Coordinated attacks in allied nations in the days that followed killed tens of thousands more. We're now hearing that the terrorists conducted smaller scale attacks in American cities and localities prior to the July 4 incidents to test our defences and gauge our responses. These smaller scale attacks went largely unnoticed. Laboratory tests confirmed that Nipah virus caused the disease, but we still do not know what methods our adversaries used to infect humans and spread the disease among livestock in rural communities. So I won't read any more. As I say, it's 177 pages long, but you can download it. So it's just called the National Blueprint for Biodefense. We've heard so much over recent years about animal diseases spreading to humans, bird flu and cow flu and you name it. So they're ramping this type of talk up for a new pandemic, whether it's on July 4th or somewhere down the track. There was a simulation called Catastrophic Contagion, which they also used 2025 as the date that was supposed to happen in the simulation. So this year, who knows, but we should be somewhat concerned. Because remember the Deagle report from some years ago? It's no longer up, but where they talked about many countries being the population severely decimated by 2025. America was down to under 100 million people in that Deagle simulation report, and many other countries were similarly decimated. So you've got to ask, well, we know that a lot was happening during COVID and after COVID to prepare for the clamping down and this whole surveillance state and depopulation and all that type of thing. So much that was learnt from COVID, I'm sure they will reapply in whenever the next pandemic is. And we know that the WHO made sure we had a pandemic treaty signed up a couple of months ago. So you have to really question what's going on here. It's not an accident, I don't believe, and I'm sure they have the mechanisms in place now much better for clamping down than they did in COVID, lockdowns, vaccines being determined and all of that. So we've heard for years about sleeper cells in America, and that's report simulated terrorist attacks. So now we have the Israel and Iran war with the US directly involved in it. I mean, the US bombed the nuclear facilities, and you can't say, we don't want war, but we're going to basically bomb something there, but we don't want war. I mean, that is an act of war. So the US is involved in it, and obviously Israel and Iran. So who knows exactly what's going to happen there, but could you imagine Iranians and their proxies being blamed for a scenario like that bioterror attack in America? I certainly can. I'm not saying that's the only possible explanation, because there are plenty of other ones, but that could be definitely one that they could pull out, like the card they could pull out to blame it on Iran. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but we should all be aware that this is out there, this report. And if you also remember with this war in Israel and Iran, you go back to retired General Wesley Clark, who revealed in 2007 on Democracy Now! To Amy Goodman in an interview. It's retired General Wesley Clark, who worked for the George Bush and Dick Cheney. I shall just quote what he said back then. We're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq, and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. So that didn't happen in 2007. Many of those countries did, but now, are they going after Iran? And Donald Trump even has suggested regime change as a possibility to make Iran great again. So whatever the situation that's going to occur in this war, and of course you've still got the Ukrainian war going on as well, I think we are in for a really, really rough ride for the rest of this year. And who knows exactly where it is going to culminate. Could be World War III. Let's hope not, but it's definitely on the cards. So I just want to finish by reminding people, please keep your lives right with the Lord. Be really vigilant in your prayer life and reading the Word.